The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Town of Florence, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38356. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting first at the front bumper area. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks. These are not intended for towing and are operational use 6,000-pound direct pull. As we move up to the face of the front bumper, dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Electronic siren located on the passenger side, unit identifier in the center. As we move up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a swivel discharge on the officer side. D-handle gains you access into the center hose storage location, and then a mechanical siren located on the driver's side, top side. As we move to the cab face, you'll find your marker turn indicator light on the outer edge. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. As we move up to the emergency warning light cluster, there are 2 lights on each side. Located on the passenger and driver side, there are grab handles for gaining access to the windshield area. Across the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And as we move to the outer edge, you'll find a flat mirror and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus is the identification clearance lights. There are 5 located here. In the center, forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof area, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar, in the center area, is the opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting with the front bumper extension on an angle where you'll find the emergency warning light on the side of the bumper extension. On the top side, you'll find your front discharge, which is foam capable. As we move toward the center, D-handle gains you access into the hose storage location with dry deck material in the base. We're now moving to the full view of the apparatus. We'll start next on the cab section, starting first with your front axle where you'll find Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator. As we move to the bumper extension, emergency warning light. Moving up onto the A-pillar is where you'll find the marker turn indicator light, and then just above that is a side-facing camera. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the door lock and latch combination. They are keyed, and right next to those are the grab handles for maintaining 3 points of contact for getting in or out of the vehicle. Moving down to the lower rear portion of the cab, you'll find a D-handle gains you access into this storage location. And as we move up from that location, you'll find the shoreline inlet. It is an auto eject 30 amp. Right next to that, lower zone emergency warning light. As we move up from this location to the very top over the driver door is where you'll find a side-facing floodlight. As we move toward the rear over the front axle, you'll find an additional D-handle gains you access into an additional storage behind the driver's seat. Water level indicator, and above that, emergency warning light, part of the upper emergency warning zone. Let's go ahead and take a look at the midsection where you'll find your pump panel. We'll come back to this in great detail. We'll move on to the body section next. Starting first to the rear of the rear axle is where you'll find your folding wheel chock storage. In front of the axle is where you'll find your marker turn indicator light. There are also 2 pan doors located within this vicinity, one for diesel fuel and the other for your DEF fill. Above that, SCBA bottle storage, 2 in front and 2 to the rear. Directly over the axle, part of the emergency warning light lower zone and emergency warning light. As we move up to the top, you'll find 3 emergency warning lights here. This is part of the upper zone. And then also on the body scene lights, there are 2 side facing. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus next, where you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. Moving up from that, emergency warning lights. There are 3 on the passenger and 3 on the driver's side. Up to the very top, you'll find a rear-facing scene light. Moving to the lower section where the hose bed is at, you'll find a rear 2.5-inch discharge. Also recessed into the body is your backup camera. There is also an access ladder located on the passenger side rear. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle. Same configuration and layout as the body has as the driver and passenger side. As we move into the pump panel, we'll cover this in just a few moments, and then also into the cab section. Let's go ahead and move now into the cab area on the driver's side. We'll start first with that location, identify a few items, first starting with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information. Just above that is the door lock and latch combination. Electric window control for all 4 cab windows, and a grab handle. Let's take a look into the space now from the driver's perspective, starting first down in the lower section in the stepwell. In the forward section of the stepwell, this is where you'll find your air inlet. As we move up to the floor of the truck, at the base of the seat is where you'll find your battery charger indicator. When plugged into Shoreline Power, that will become active. Also, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date to manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also houses the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also the fluid type. At about the left knee of the operator, master battery switch, quarter turn, it's the silver latch. As you move to the right, you'll find your tech module, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port. Also some switches down at the very bottom for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and engine regen inhibit. Also display port is located here. Let's move up to the steering wheel. You'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag in the center area. Also, you have emergency warning light control and windshield wiper control. As we move to the dash, you'll find on the left the start ignition switch, also a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency warning lights. Headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within the dash area. To the right is the OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. As we move to the dash cluster, you'll find the transmission, oil, depth level, and water temp on the right side. On the left side. On the right side, you'll find the volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. In the center is your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the tachometer, with additional information in the display below the tachometer. On the right side of the lower dash, you'll find your stationary OK to pump and roll indicator, water pump, and foam system activation switches. Also to the right, flat mirror and convex mirror adjustment controls. Moving now to a full view of the dash area. Let's start at the very top section. We'll identify a few items within this area. First, this is a touch screen or function screen with buttons down in the lower portion. Tremendous amount of information right at your fingertips. See the owner's manual for more information. To the right of that is your windshield wiper fluid, push for fluid, right to left for on-off for wiper speed. As we move to the switches, you'll find an engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, front flood, side scene, rear scene, and mirror heat. When any of the switches are activated, indicating for your lights, they'll indicate with a light within the switch, meaning it's on. Also, your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the rear spring brake. Also to the right, Allison transmission pad, informational note to pump in neutral. To the right, climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Also to the right, you'll find the digital readout for pump pressure, water tank level, and foam tank level. Further to the right, 12-volt access via USB and also barrel style. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the driver's position, where you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 7 inches, length of the vehicle 33 feet 0 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 46,500 pounds. Also, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Also, siren control for your electronic siren and PA speaker module. Additional switches here for scene lights for Opticom, electric siren, air horn, mechanical siren, rear ground scene, and load manager. As we move further to the right into the next cutout section, this is where you'll find your intercom system for your Firecom wireless headsets. As we move just underneath this location, the wireless module for up to 5 headsets. And then as we move toward the center console area, you'll find the seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green in the seat and belted. Also, do not move your apparatus if this light is on. It's indicating you have a compartment or door ajar. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the rear portion where you'll find forward-facing seats. There are 3 that house SCBA brackets. To the rear of the driver's seat is where you'll find shoreline access with an outlet. In addition, you'll find your speaker for your backup camera located here with volume control on the face of the speaker. As we move to the exterior, your vehicle is equipped with an independent front suspension, TAC 4. A couple of shots here of the logo. And then as we move down to behind the driver's seat, you'll find access storage here, adjustable shelf, and LED lighting. Back down to the front wheel where you'll find a Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, and the visual sight gauge into the front axle. Also, as we move to the rear portion of the cab, let's start with the door panel first. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we move to the center section, you'll find your air conditioning unit, and then also on each side, EMS compartments. In the upper section, LED lighting. They are broken into different sections here with the netting option. And then also as we look to the rear of the engine area, you'll find your access for daily checks for oil and transmission, along with 12-volt access via USB style. To the rear portion of that cabinet, you'll also find a shoreline outlet. And then here's a shot of your air conditioning unit overhead. Moving now to the rear cab wall, where you'll find your seats forward facing along with SCBA brackets and intercom system on the rear wall. Your vehicle also is equipped with a 120-volt air conditioner. This is the control module when plugged into Shoreline Power. This will become active, cooling your cab, pre-cooling your cab. As we move to the exterior, additional compartment here in the lower section and also the auto eject. As we move to the rear portion or the forward portion of the body, D-handle gains you access into this space. This is where your backboard storage location is at, in additional for forward section of storage. Also to the lower portion, these are your crosslays, crosslay number 1 and crosslay number 2. Both of these are foam capable. Also a quick reminder, warning, entanglement hazard. Because the line's coming from a loft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move down to the pump panel, we'll start identifying a few items within this area. First, let's start in the upper left-hand corner. There are 2 2.5-inch discharges located here, locally controlled via ball valve, discharge number 1 and number 3. Also in the top section, a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. The Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet on the driver's side. As you move to the upper right, this is your auxiliary foam function fill location. Also warning placard here indicating foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also warning placard here, fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. As we move down to the bottom, you'll find the driver number 3 2.5-inch discharge, locally controlled via the ball valve. All of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are located across the very bottom section. As we move to the right, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary 2.5-inch, locally controlled via ball valve. We're now into the pump panel space. Let's start at the very top. If you've properly gauged your pump, that light will be illuminating, indicating pump OK. Also, foam level located in the green module. As we move into the gray area, you'll find the master intake gauge and master discharge gauge to the right. In between the two of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing purposes. Moving to the right is the PCM fault indicator and also audible speaker. The outer edge of that speaker bezel does rotate to increase or decrease sound. These are discharges for front discharge, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. All three of those are foam capable. Along with a warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after proper training. These are the two rear discharges. One is the reel and the other is the passenger side 2.5-inch pre-connect. As we move to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor and also water tank level indicator. As we move down on the pump panel, you'll find your Husky 12 foam system specifications and operating instructions. Also to the right, the Husky 12 foam module. This is your control module. To the right, your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air for best practices, at least 1,000 RPM. Further to the right, these are the driver rear discharge and deluge discharge. Down the lower left, this is the recirculating and tank fill and also tank to pump. There are two electric valves located on the passenger side, and these are the control modules for those. As you move down to the very bottom, you'll find your master stream control monitor on the left. As you move into the pan door area, the yellow valve is the indication for horizontal operations. For vertical operations or for fill, they match the information on the placard. Also, you'll find a protected switch. This is your manual pump shift override. Across the very bottom section of the pump panel is all the color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the forward section vertical side sheet, this is on the side of the pump panel. It's where you'll find your switches for front flood and also side scene lights. In addition, with the caution and warning placard here regarding electrical power and its distribution equipment. Minimum operation maintenance schedule is located for 150, 200, and 250 psi. As we move inside the compartment at the top, this is your battery charger. When plugged into shoreline power, this will become active. Also, just below that, the S1 breaker panel, meaning shoreline power breaker. As we move in the same compartment, you'll find a shoreline outlet located here. As we move in the same vicinity, you'll find a set of drawers in the lower section, and in the upper section, you'll find additional adjustable shelving. This is a pull-out tilt outward shelf over wheel compartment. We also have def level fill and diesel fuel to the front and rear of the rear axle. Also SCBA bottle storage for up to 4 bottles. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those items. First, just to the forward section. Once again, this is a 4.5 US gallon def tank. It's the blue cap. Also SCBA bottle storage just above that. As we move to the rear axle, you'll find Alcoa wheels and Goodyear tire. As we move to the rear of the axle, this is the ultra low sulfur diesel fill location, which is the silver cap. And then just above that is where you'll find your SCBA bottle storage, once again for 2 SCBA bottles. As we move to the rear portion of the apparatus, this is the last compartment, adjustable shelf, and then a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is located just under the shelf on the right-hand side. Let's take a look at the truck with all compartments open now on the driver's side, and then we'll move around to the rear of the apparatus next. All compartments open. Let's take a look and identify a few items. We'll start at the very top section where you'll find your 10-foot folding ladder, long-handled tool storage. Also to the right, a 2.5-inch discharge, and then just beneath that, a warning, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Let's take a look at the hose bed area where you'll find adjustable hose bed dividers. There are 2 located here. Just down from that location, ladder storage, 24-foot extension, and a 14-foot roof. You'll also find a recessed backup camera. In the lower section, you'll find your red line. This is a space saver tailboard. As we move also inside the compartment, you'll find the reel rewind push button. Also, you'll find the passenger side 2.5-inch pre-connect, which is foam capable, and a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Hose bed lights and rear scene lights in the cupped switch. As we move around to the passenger side, you'll find an adjustable shelf, pull-out tilt downward shelf located at the very top section. And at the very bottom of this compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray. The release for that pull-out tray located just under the shelf on the right-hand side. Let's move to the over-wheeled compartment, where you'll find at the top a tool board. D-handle gains you access into this space. Once the tool board's open, it will lock into position. On the hinge side is where you'll find the release mechanism. Just underneath that, you'll find SCBA bottle storage to the rear portion and then also to the forward portion. Along with your Goodyear tire and Alcoa wheel, let's go ahead and take a look to the forward section where you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations located here. Let's move to the next forward compartment where you'll find adjustable shelves, a divider, and also a pull-out tilt downward. In this upper section, you'll find a shoreline outlet located here. And then this is the pull-out and tilt downward shelf. Release mechanisms on both right and left side. Just underneath this space is where you're going to find your med cooler. And then here is it with the door in the open position. As we move forward to this location, this is the hose storage location and also backboard storage location. In the lower portion, the 2 cross lays, cross lay 1 and cross lay 2, once again, both foam capable. And then also, I wanted to point out warning placard entanglement hazard because those lines coming from a loft. Let's take a look at the pump panel on the passenger side. We'll start at the very top section with your water strainer. Also a warning placard at the very top indicating fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. The Pierce logo American flag eagle, this is your large diameter pump inlet on the passenger side. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also this location of our cab lift, their instructions for its operation, and also some caution and danger placards because of the movement of that device. Also, as we move down, you'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge. It is an electric valve, so therefore it does have an override. Passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve, 2.5 inch, across the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Our large diameter pump discharge is an electric valve, so therefore we have an override located here. And across the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go ahead and move forward this location to the rear portion of the cab where you'll find additional storage. D-handle gains you access into this space. As we move to the rear cab portion, let's start first at the rear door, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move inside overhead, you'll find your 120 volt air conditioner, meaning shoreline powered air conditioning. Also, you'll have 3 seats forward facing. They do contain SCBA brackets. As we move to the forward section, these are the 2 compartments located access from the exterior and then also interior access at the very top with netting behind. Adjustable shelf on the exterior compartment, Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move into the officer space, let's start first affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. Grab handle, door lock and latch combination, and electric window control. The vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system and airbag located here in the front bolster. There is a warning placard here in regards to that airbag. And then also just to the right, you'll find your fill location for your windshield wiper fluid fill. Let's move just to the left of the officer seat where you'll find a few push buttons here. First, the air horn, mechanical siren, and electric siren, and siren brake. As we move overhead, additional space located here, and as we move to the left, you'll find an additional monitor. This is engaged for your camera system for camera 1, 2, and 3. As we move overhead, you'll find your air conditioning unit and then also your Firecom headsets. Moving now to the all compartments open on the apparatus, let's go ahead and move up onto the roof and dunnage area. First, let's start with the forward section of the cab. This is considered a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these placards indicating here. Let's move back from this location to the dunnage area. We'll identify a few items within this space. This is the Husky foam system reservoir, visual sight gauge, and also add at the very top section with the cab. Master stream device located here, and then also exhaust located here. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Please be cautious when operating within this space. This is the Husky foam system hydraulic reservoir. As we move to the right, this is your foam tank fill location. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move, this is your exhaust again. Moving now to the dunnage where the fill location for your water tank is located. Moving now to the rear portion where you can see 2 forward hatch compartments and 2 rear hatch compartments, along with the yellow indicator safety tape indicating the edge of the walking surface for firefighter safety. Hose bed cover is open. There are 2 movable hose beds here. They are adjustable. Also in the forward section, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. Forward dunnage area and rear dunnage area do have LED lighting and also dry deck material within inside their space. Let's go ahead and move down to the cab area. We'll identify a few items with the cab in the upright position, and then we'll identify some chassis components also. Let's first start just from underneath the vehicle. These are the 2 chrome tow hooks. Once again, these are not intended for towing your vehicle. These are operational use, as in firefighting, 6,000-pound direct pull. As we move into the engine space, we're now operating on the driver's side looking in. When your cab has been fully raised, please store the safety bar in a position. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal cab cylinder pressure on both left and right cylinders. Your vehicle is equipped with an independent front suspension. It is the TAC 4 suspension system. As we move into the engine, this is a Cummins X12. There is also a power steering fluid reservoir located in the very rear, sight gauge and visual dipstick, also along with your oil and transmission dipsticks at the rear of the engine. In the forward section, you'll find a visual sight gauge for your radiator and then also radiator recovery tank. As we move down the frame rail, you'll find the location of your battery storage area. Underneath that battery box is going to be the negative and positive jumper studs. Also in the same area is the fill location for your hydraulic reservoir for the cab tilt. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Town of Florence, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38356. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.